Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about customer loyalty. Now, customer loyalty is really important because if you run a business, you either need to make a lot of money off one transaction, or ideally, you've got a customer for life and they're going to be doing regular transactions on an ongoing basis. And that's where you build your profitability. So it's no good if you're going to sell one thing to a customer and make a very slim margin and then never see them again, because you're going to spend so much time building the product, building the pipeline, doing the sales, getting them over the line, and then once they've bought the thing, they leave and then they never spend another dollar with you. So all of that marketing time, effort, and energy is wasted on every single customer. Whereas if you can sell them more than one thing or sell the same thing more often, then you really only have to do that front end marketing once, but then you keep getting the customer every time again and again after that. So loyalty can be a really powerful thing, particularly if you have got a customer that has other alternatives of things that they can buy. So they could buy your product or they could buy someone else's. What makes them choose you over someone else? Is it price? Is it values? Is it something else? So loyalty can be developed a number of ways. One of those ways is just by providing an amazing customer service or building a deep rapport with the customer. But as time goes on, things change. Technology changes, the world changes. And so your service needs to keep up with new expectations. Once upon a time, people would expect to get somebody on the phone. And then nowadays, people want to search the answer online rather than talk to a person. So we've gone from having a very manual one-to-one interaction to now having all the information super available 24/7, 365. And if the answer's not there, they're probably not going to be as happy. Typically, when talking about loyalty, you've got three types of customers: your A customers, your B customers, and your C customers. So your C customer, they're not really loyal at all. They'll happily jump for a lower price, a faster delivery. And even if you had the lowest price and the fastest delivery, they're going to demand more. They're going to ask more. And one little upset and they're probably going to bounce to somebody else. If they figure out that they can't manipulate more stuff out of you than what they're actually allowed to get for the product or service, then they're probably going to try and find somebody else that they can manipulate. So your C-class customers, whilst they may build up an element of your complete customer base, they're not really your best customer and you shouldn't really be trying to target or pander to them. Your B-class customers, they're the ones that are somewhat loyal. They're loyal when it's convenient. So yes, they'll buy from you because it's easier, because they've automated the task in their head. They're not going to go and constantly reevaluate someone every 5 minutes, and they're happy just to stay where they are for the most part. If they happen to find something, they will move. Okay, so they're not terrible customers, but they're not your absolute loyal customers either. And finally, your A-class customers. Your A-class customers are your most loyal customer. They are the ones that love you rain, hail, or shine. If you have to put a price up, they're okay with it. If you make a mistake, they're okay with it. But they like you for you. They like you maybe for your values, for what you stand for the work that you put in, the craftsmanship. Or maybe they've built a rapport with you, a relationship, and they don't want to break that. And so your A-class customers are what you should be ultimately aiming for. If you happen to get B and C customers as well, that's totally fine. They make up your revenue base. But focus on your A's, because the A's bring you the most revenue, the most profitability. Your C-class customers cause you the most pain, the most frustration, and your B are somewhere in the middle. So understanding your customer segment breakdown as to the loyalty can be really impactful for how you approach each customer interaction. Maybe even create some way to tag these customers in the back end. If you know they're an A customer, highlight it so that when you pick up the phone, you can answer them by name and say, hey, it's been so great working with you all this time, all these years, whatever. We'd love to reward you. We'd love to give you a bonus. We'd love to give you an extra discount or a gift. Something that would really make them help you find other A-class customers, because you've provided them amazing service. You've built that relationship. You've recognized the quality relationship that you have, and they're probably going to go and talk in a positive way. Another way to create loyalty is to create some form of reward system. You commonly see this in supermarkets where they've got points systems. If you buy this, you get that many points, you accumulate your points, and then you can use those points to buy other goods and services. So sometimes those systems can be a little bit tricky to manage, But there are simple ways to do it. Go on to your local cafe. You're probably going to find they've got a card with a little punch system, and they'll give you the card, and when your sixth coffee rolls around, it's free. So little things like that help regular buyers come back and maybe choose you over somebody else. If there's a whole street full of cafes and you're the only one with the card, they're probably going to come back and get their free one. If you've ever been to Starbucks, they have a concept of surprise and delight. So the idea of surprise and delight would be remember when someone's birthday is, or have a conversation with them and remember some key thing and just really make that a key moment. Now that is something that is more of a culture within the organization. And so they've built loyalty by ensuring that the staff are actively going out and building little quirky, fun relationships with the people that come in. Yes, it's only fleeting, but it's nice to walk into a cafe, recognize the person who's making your coffee, have a quick little 5-minute banter of how's your day or how's your weekend, get your order, and then leave. You leave with a very positive experience. You feel perhaps uplifted and you enjoy getting your coffee, not just for the coffee, but maybe for the little interaction. And so these little elements help build loyalty. On a larger scale, technology is starting to really drive this space, with one beauty brand actually using geofencing. So when you're using their app and it's downloaded on your phone, they can recognize when your device is in the shopping center, and it will send a notification to the store. And so when you go into the store and they know you've arrived, they will greet you by name and say, hey, we've got your favorite shade or the item you normally order behind the counter. Let us know when you're ready and we can get you set up. So the idea is that they've recognized that that person has come in. They've created a trigger for a staff member to go and grab that item off the shelf and get it ready. So that if that person just wants to walk straight up to the counter, grab the item and walk out, they can do that. Now, this is more of a systems approach. Now, in the first instance, it's a culture approach where they've got the staff members to go and create relationships, but they've encouraged them. It's a part of their training. It's part of the culture. They reinforce it on a regular basis. Whereas the second example is a systems approach. They've built infrastructure to be able to track when a customer comes into store, then it looks up what their most frequently purchased item is, and then it recommends the staff go and pick that from the shelf and take it to the ordering counter where they can basically check out incredibly fast without having to go look around. Now, there's two schools of thought on that in particular. So one is that you are making it really easy for the customer. That's great. But marketers often want people to walk around stores for longer. So you would do this probably more in a luxury, high value store rather than a low value, high volume store. So in a low value, high volume store, such as a chemist, for example, Chemist Warehouse, they actually have a process where when you go up and you ask for your prescription, the chemists spend time to collect your order, put it together, do all the paperwork. They give you a card or a number, or sometimes using an app, but they basically get you to walk around the store and dwell. That dwell time, where you're walking around the aisles, is causing you to look at more things and go, oh, I might need that, I might need that, and I might need this. And so it encourages additional purchases that you probably would not have made otherwise. If it was quick and easy, you'd just walk in, grab the thing and walk out. But because they don't make all of their money on the pharmaceutical items, they actually want you to go around and buy the retail items. So you might pick up a bar of soap, a loofah, and maybe some lipstick. But you wouldn't do that if you just went in and out for your pharmaceuticals. Another way to build loyalty is to identify and build a set of brand advocates. Find people that really like your service and reward them and get them to go onto things like social media, onto blogs, onto forums. Give public displays of how good your service is. You could even go and interview them or put them in front of a prize that they won and then do something like a press release. So having advocates and customers and people who are really impressed with your business, particularly if they have a large audience, they're the ones that are going to help drive loyalty because they're motivating other people in their network that think similarly or that are aligned with them to come to your business and to look and buy your products and services. Over 60% of customers leave a business because of indifference, because they're just treated like it's part of the everyday. We're just getting through the day. We're just doing the thing that we have to do. So if you make the customer feel as though they are welcome, they are more likely to return. So if you're not doing anything, you're probably going to go backwards. Make sure you're doing at least something to tell the customer that you appreciate them. Let everyone that comes in the door, you could give them a flyer for a coupon or something like that. It shouldn't always be discounting, but you can kind of say thank you to the ones that you've noticed that come back on a regular basis. In today's business era, you can identify premium customers by creating the system that allows premium customers to be rewarded. If you're watching this on YouTube, there is a chance that you are a YouTube premium member. And so they've kind of created a reciprocity of loyalty by giving you a premium service that then removes all the ads. And perhaps there's some other features as well that you get as a premium member. And by paying for it, you've now got that benefit. So yes, it seems more like a service, but it's actually more of a loyalty program, because if you didn't have a way for you to put up your hand and say, I'm a loyal customer, then you're really just going to get the same thing as everybody else. But YouTube can't go one-to-one. They can't go to every single customer, look them in the eye and have a conversation. So this is a systematic process of loyalty as opposed to a cultural concept of loyalty. So cultural is where you're in the store, you recognize the same person, or you can see their order history. YouTube doesn't have that. It's a service that you consume. So by having a program that you pay for as a subscription, it creates an element of loyalty and really drives you into that zone of a loyal customer. Another example of this is where airlines give you a membership program, and it's on the promise that you're going to get additional rewards and benefits. But the real magic here is not that you get those additional rewards and benefits. For the airline, it's that you're more likely to book with them over somebody else. So if I know that I get a luxury class of suite that I get to sit in between destinations, I'll more likely book with that, because then I can get whatever the perks are that are in that particular space. So if you create a environment where there is some level to be desired by demonstrating loyalty, then you're likely to get people to come onto that loyalty program. And loyalties really drive repeat transactions. And that is where the magic is for driving loyalty. So if you're not driving loyalty, you're probably only going to have one or two transactions. And so whilst it can seem like a cost, it is actually a massive savings compared to the customer acquisition cost of running your Facebook ads, Google ads, newspaper articles, billboards, and your front end sales time when they just come back in the door again themselves because they like what you do. Now, I constantly talk about a concept of brand entanglement. This is where someone is constantly being reminded that you exist. It could be in the interactions they have with you, or it could be the interactions they have in and around your business. So for example, I've got a website, and when people go to the website, they fill out the form, they go to the branded landing page that has a video of us talking about thank you for doing the thing that you just did, like fill out a contact form. And then once they do that, they get an email, and then the email has got branded as well, and it also goes into detail. Thank you for booking a meeting with us or filling out the contact form. Here's some other links to some information. And they might go off to those links, which might be the YouTube channel, or it might be our knowledge base, or it might be our digital online community. But everywhere they look, there is another touch point or a way for them to be reminded of us. We even started giving coffee out with branding on it. Now, yes, you could do the same with key rings, pens, notepads, and all that sort of stuff. But what are you doing to really stand out if you're just doing the same thing as everybody else? So we like to give coffee, and it's something that you're either going to consume or you're going to gift it to somebody else. Whereas a pen's more likely to go in the bin. A bottle, well, they're a dime a dozen anyway, so they're probably going to go in the bin. USBs, power banks are probably the worst thing because it's just going to go into landfill. They're generally poorly made anyway, and whilst it might be cool for 6 months, it's no good after that. Coffee, you're going to put it in your cupboard. You're going to open the door, you're going to look at it several times in a row, not just in one go. And you're constantly reminded, and as you pick it up and you pour it and you actively handle it, it's a much stronger reminder of something than, things like mouse pads or, all of those little stubby coolers and things that, people tend to put their stubby cooler in and amongst 50 other stubby coolers. And so your brand is watered down in and amongst that. So you're much better to find a unique gift that is really resonating with your brand, or may not be a gift, could be just a marketing item. So maybe they buy merch. So if you've got some cool little catchphrase, you can design up a nice t-shirt and use that and promote that within your branding and marketing. And then you're kind of creating a movement. You're creating loyalty in and around your brand instead of just having your logo, and then that is not really something that people would align with. People wear the Nike logo because they resonate with what it does, not because it's the brand. But they had to build that brand over a very long time and using a very large marketing budget. I have little brand elements that are constantly sitting around the place. For example, I wear the t-shirt with the brand logo so that you are constantly reminded of the channel name and the company name. I have the green trees, which goes along with our green logo here, and the color theme that sits within our brand. I have little green elements up here, including a octopus that you see there and one there. And those are elements that tie back to our online community. And in fact, if you're looking at our online community, you'll also see elements that tie back to the main brand, things that go back to the YouTube channel, things that go back to the main website, things that go off to landing pages that are all interrelated and interconnected. So that brand entanglement really helps drive customer loyalty, because everywhere they look, they see you, they see positivity, and they join those two concepts together in their brain. Another thing about brand loyalty and brand entanglement is that over time, people begin to see the depth of what you offer. If someone was to come along, they'd just quickly glance at what you offer, make a determination, and then walk away. But if someone comes along, buys something, they're more likely to look at your brand a little bit longer. And they might discover some other products and services that are relevant to them. Maybe they didn't come in on the basis of that product or service, or maybe it wasn't relevant to them at the time that they purchased and became more relevant later. Then brand loyalty is more likely to trigger repeat purchase and extension or cross-sell over a period of time, because today they bought the first widget and they didn't realize that the second widget was complementary to the first one. Or maybe they only needed the first widget to get to a certain point in their life, business, whatever, and then the second widget became valuable to them. But because you sell both, now you have two opportunities to make that sale instead of just once. Brand loyalty also means that your customers are invested in your business and your outcome. So you can make your customer feel more valued and extract more value from them by using them as a resource to grow your business. And what I mean is, you now get to use your customers, your loyal customers, as a survey base. So you're asking them what it is that they like or dislike to tailor the business a little bit more to them, because aligning with your loyal customers will likely generate more similar customers. So by getting feedback from them, they feel heard. They feel as though the business is being tailored to them. But at that same token, you get a massive benefit, because now you have a customer advisory board that is giving you insights that you could never get on your own, or that maybe you didn't realize that when you say something in a particular way, it really resonates with your audience. Or when you provide a particular service in a particular way, then they are going to like it 20% more, as an example, or complain less, or get the answers that they need, or unblock that one annoying step in the chain that causes an issue. You can even optimize those loyal customers by creating a referral program and rewarding them for inviting other customers to work with you. So this can be on a commission basis. You could give them discounts, coupons, or you could give them a special offer. Maybe they get a free ride on your Ferris wheel, or whatever the service is. Maybe they get an extra hour, or they get extra credit for their own service usage. But ultimately, a loyal customer may not want commissions. They may not want refer and earn or coupon or vouchers. And so a loyal customer can still become one of your best unpaid BDMs that you've ever had. They're going to walk around singing your praises. And every time they find someone who has a customer, they go, "Oh, you should work with these guys because they're really, really good and they're very effective. And I've been using them for years and I can tell you all about how much they've been great for me." That is powerful. Customer loyalty can also come from solving problems, because an unhappy customer is likely to lose you your loyal customers, particularly if it's poorly handled. But on the flip side, if someone has a bad experience, and mistakes happen, that if you handle it really well, you might turn a maybe customer into a loyal customer because you've gone above and beyond to solve the problem. So by creating a positive customer, now you've got a loyal customer. But if you didn't handle it well, or if you do something bad and you don't kind of make amends, then they're probably going to go and tell 10 friends about how bad your service is. Whereas if someone is positive, they're only likely to tell one or two. The inverse effect is quite dramatically in the opposite direction. Some people will walk away and just say, whatever, if it wasn't particularly bad. But if it was a really bad experience and you don't handle it well, it's actually going to be more of a negative impact on your brand than if you just at least deal with it in some way. But even better, if you deal it in a really, really positive way back the other way, then you're actually going to gain customers out of it. So thank you for watching this video on customer loyalty. Please do stick around and watch the next video.